There are people in the world for whom their political views are so important that they are not capable of having friends or connections who think differently than them, and that is something that I don't understand. When I say political views, I am speaking about the ideological part of politics, since I believe we all agree that there are just a few people in the world who still believe that communism and socialism are something good for a country. I mean, enough to study a bit of the history of several countries and make a comparison to understand why these two economic systems cannot work. So, let's get back to the ideological or social perspective in politics. I am conservative, as you should already know, but I personally have friends and colleagues whose mentality is way different than mine. To give you some examples, I have female friends who are pro-abortion, who do not want to have children, neither to get married. I have male friends who believe that their race is superior to others. I have friends who are atheists, agnostics, liberals, people who support the so-called same-sex marriage and every LGBTQ XYZ event. I even have a work colleague who is vegetarian because she doesn't want to eat animals. In my life, I met homosexuals and bisexuals with whom I had a good relationship. I even met 3 people suffering from gender dysphoria. A Spanish girl who changed her sex and became a boy and a handsome one. A Spanish man who changed his sex and became a woman, and an American man who changed his sex to become a woman, but since he realized that this wasn't the right solution to his gender dysphoria, he got other procedures in order to come back to his natural sex. Of course, these 3 people are not indoctrinated by the LGBTQXYZ lobby. You won't see them protesting for trans rights by using victimization and manipulation. The first 2 are serious people who felt the need to change their sex at some point of their life and who don't try to make others think that it is the most normal thing and blah blah blah. With regard to the American, he's actually an activist anti-gender ideology, speaking out and clear about the bad intentions of the LGBTQXYZ lobby, and that the remedy of gender dysphoria is not always the change of sex, but the reconciliation with the biological sex through psychological therapy. Besides all these people, I could perfectly have good relationships with other sort of people like adults who are in a couple with teenagers, in other words, pedophiles, or with people who practice bestiality, or with people who identify as everything else than what they actually are. Although I may believe their actions are morally wrong, I wouldn't treat bad these people simply because they are different. In any case, I would feel pity for them, and you can be sure of that. But I couldn't hate them or get them out of my life. And you know why? Because I do believe in the freedom of choice, in the freedom of thoughts, and in the freedom of expression. Freedom is something that is already being violated by the state and by corporations nowadays. Therefore, I won't be another dictator telling people how they should live their lives. Nope. I have already been a victim of this kind of behavior myself. One of my ex-best friends, with whom I studied in high school, insulted me and deleted me on Facebook during the 2020 US elections simply because I expressed my support to Trump and because I published videos which clearly showed how bizarre Joe Biden is. She accused me of publishing fake news. I mean, come on. Joe Biden is not even liked by American Democrats, and as weird as it may sound, my Romanian best friend got distance because of this old pedophile puppet. Now, I have to recognize that there are 2 situations in which I would feel obliged to take some people out of my life. In the first place, if these people are not respectful, kind, or if I feel that they are trying to make me think that I am wrong, that my mentality is retrograde, and so on. I believe people with different mentalities may get along if only respect and tolerance are the base of the relationship. It's weird how most of the times those who proclaim peace and tolerance are actually the most intolerant people, but that's another story. The second situation in which I would take people off of my life is in the hypothetical case that I have children and that these people try to indoctrinate my kids with their ideologies. I believe there are subjects like everything related with sex and relationships that are parents' obligation, and nobody else, not even friends, teachers, nor the government, has the right to talk about them with other people's children. The day I will have kids, I will be like a bear mama, protecting them from any sort of ideologies and fighting against anyone if necessary. It's actually sad to see how today being normal, having a healthy way of thinking, has become an extremism for some people, how good values are just old-fashioned.